All right, what's up, folks? This is Fairslime with the Bowser Report. Today we're going to be going over a new tool that we've created for you all, and this is something that is available for all investors, right? Not just Bowser Report subscribers or penny stock investors. It is the Bowser Report Portfolio Tracker. Okay, so we've had this in the works for a while now, and we will be releasing more features in the future. I'll talk about that down the road, but basically this is a tool that you can use in Google Spreadsheets to track your portfolio and see its performance, see what you're doing right, see what you're doing wrong, etc., etc. And obviously, tracking has its own benefits, right? Because you can just look at your portfolio in whatever brokerage you have, but that doesn't really show all of the details that you need. And on top of that, not all brokerage platforms allow you to look at different views of that portfolio. Okay, first things first, I will say that there are other tools that you can use for this on Yahoo Finance and FinViz. Most of them require an account. This just requires a Google account. So this is not something that you have to pay for. It's free. And all you have to do is create a Google account and then add this into your Google Drive. And I'll show you how exactly that works. Okay. But again, the purpose of this is to track your portfolio and see how your holdings are doing. Okay. Whether it's a win or a loss, this will tell you. Okay. Now, this is something that we released in the May issue of the newsletter. And this is the monthly newsletter that I'm referring to for the Bowser Report. And so far, we've gotten a lot of positive feedback, but in order to get started, you actually have to make a copy of this for yourself, because what this is essentially is a template, right? It's a template, and then you are going to create your own portfolio tracker so that we're not all using the same one, okay? So first things first, you do have to make an account with Google. That's pretty simple. You can just go to google.com and sign up. If you have a Gmail account, or if you've used Google Docs, right, Google Sheets, or any of their different features, then there's a good chance you already have an account, and this can be added to that. So basically, after you've created that account, and I'm not going to go through the various steps that you have to do to create that. You can just honestly Google it, as ridiculous as that sounds, because it's a pretty simple process, and it requires you to put in personal information like your email, your phone number, etc. So I already have mine set up. And this is what you're looking at after you've clicked the link for the portfolio tracker. So I'll put that in the description below the YouTube video. But essentially, it is this link. I've shortened it up for you guys. Okay, so it's bit.ly, right? 3HBH1SD. And again, I'll put that link in the description so you can just click it. But if you want to type it in manually, by all means, go for it. This is it right here. And when you do that, it'll pull this screen up. Okay, this is the template. All right. Now, after you pull up the template, you have to create the copy for yourself. So before we get into the intricacies of this and how it works, you just go to File. Okay, yours might look a little bit different from mine because I'm the author of this, right? I'm the creator of it. So I have a couple of different features that you might not have. But you go to File, Make a Copy, all right? And then it'll ask you to rename it and where you want to save it in your Google Drive. And your Google Drive is basically just a folder, right? It's a folder that's hosted by Google. They give you a bunch of free space. And essentially how that works is that when you log into your Google account, you can have multiple portfolio trackers or whatever. But the reason why we're doing this in Google Sheets, right, instead of the standard Excel spreadsheets that you would use with Microsoft Office, is because this allows you to pull data from Google Finance. So you don't need to update all the prices yourself. It updates that for you. That's the big benefit, right? That's the big difference here. So you make the copy, you rename it whatever you want, you know, Chris Smith Portfolio Tracker, whatever. But bottom line, you've now made that for yourself, and you can start adding in your own holdings, okay? Now, after you've created it, you need to put in a couple of things to make sure that all of the data is correct, right? Because what is going to happen moving forward is that this automatically updates. So if you haven't put in the standard inputs that you need, like your starting portfolio value, when you started investing in the first place, et cetera, it's not going to show you what you need to see, right? It's not going to have the correct output, basically, if you don't have the right input. Okay, so that being said, the couple of things that you do need to input, I made it pretty simple for you, are in blue. Okay, this is a basic instruction sheet here, but I put them in blue. So you need to put the starting date of when you started using the portfolio tracker or investing if you want to go back and input all of your investments ever, which might be a lot. But let's say hypothetically I started it today, so 6/17/2020, and I would click enter. Okay, I'm actually gonna not do that because this is the template. I don't want to screw it up for everybody. Then you would go to starting portfolio value, however much money you're starting with. Doesn't matter, right? We have a YouTube video on this where we go over how much you should start with, but your bankroll doesn't determine how good of an investor you are. So if it's 500, if it's 1,000, this is something that's not public information. This portfolio tracker is only accessible from your Google account. So if you put in your portfolio value, don't worry, everybody can't see it. Okay. So right here, you put in your portfolio value. Let's say you start out with 10 grand, you've saved up over the years. And then one of the last things you put in off the bat is the trade commission. So most brokerages have a $0 trade commission now because of the recent acquisitions and the change in the industry. But some people still pay them, and sometimes these commissions can even change. So one of the things that we'll be adding later on is kind of special commissions, because sometimes you'll pay a commission on an OTC stock, right? We recommend at the Bowser Report small caps, right, on a monthly basis. So we'll give you one new stock pick a month. That's what is the main part of our subscription service. So let's say that you're buying an OTC stock that has a $10 one-time commission, right? That's something that would be an unusual expense, and we don't currently account for that. But your trade commission, let's say it's $2, and you pay, $2 for every single trade that you take, you would put it in here, because this portfolio tracker is supposed to kind of be referencing a business model, essentially, right? You're looking at your expenses, you're looking at your profits, et cetera, so that you have a good idea of whether you're investing efficiently, okay? Right? Whether you're making the most out of your time and effort. So in this case, we're factoring in those expenses with the commissions. You put in 1, 2, 3 things here. And moving forward, all you need to do is put in the ticker, entry price, number of shares, and exit price for your holdings. And I'm sure if some of you guys are day trading in your free time or anything along those lines, then this might get pretty hectic. But for Bowser Report subscribers, we mainly are making 1, maybe 2 trades a week, and that's if you're pretty active. Okay, that's if you're pretty active. So a lot of this is buy and hold long-term investing. So you might not have to update this as much as you think. Seems like a lot of effort right off the bat, but it's one of those things where you set it up and then over time it works for you. Okay, so for example, I put in 2 tickers here, one that has done well, one that has not, so you can see the difference. There are different share prices, right? And really based off of my investment style, I don't want to put too much money into one stock. I want to diversify. That's part of the Bowser Report game plan. So I'm looking for about 3 to 4% of my total portfolio, how much I'm actually investing here. So you can see my initial cost basis, right, for WYY was $400. For FPay, that's the ticker here, Flex Shopper, was $336. Okay, that's how much I invested. And that's not something you enter in, you're entering in what's in blue. So WYY, for example, we recommended it at around 40 cents, right? So let's say you bought at 0.41, you had a slightly late entry point there, 1,000 shares, okay? And your entry price is there, your exit price, if you exited, if not, you don't have to put that in, you just leave it blank, 0.82, because one of our rules in the game plan is that we sell half of the position when the stock doubles, okay? So automatically, once you put that in, it'll update all of these numbers over here. So your total return, the percentage return, et cetera, okay? Now, one thing I briefly mentioned is the Bowser game plan. This is a public portfolio tracker. You guys are allowed to use this, share it with friends, whoever, because we're not profiting off of this. We're not selling this, right? This is just a free, easy to use tracker, okay? Now, that being said, the majority of the people that are going to use this, at least based off of our intention, are going to be Bowser Report subscribers. So if you're a Bowser Report subscriber, you can refer to the game plan here. I've listed it just so that you can focus on staying disciplined. Okay, it's over here on the right hand side. All right, and you can see, do not pay more than $3 a share, diversify, sell at a certain price or at a certain percentage, etc., etc. Okay, now again, guys, this is pretty much all you need to know for the main spreadsheet here. Everything else is fairly straightforward. So now that I have locked in my wins on this stock and I've cut my losses on the second one, which dropped, you can see that my realized P&L has automatically updated. Okay, and that is shown over here. All right, we actually did have a lot of different things that showed up at first on this that we had created, like something that tracked all of your sizes and it gave you a visual representation, like a chart. We also had something that showed your average daily gain, average weekly gain on a chart. But since this is the rollout, I want to keep it simple. So this is going to look a lot different in a couple of months in the sense that we are going to add features and maybe even simplify it a little bit. Okay. To know what we've added over time, if you're watching this video a month or a year later or whatever, we have an updates tab here. So just like in Excel, if you've ever used it, Google Sheets has the ability to add different tabs. So the main one is the portfolio tracker. Okay. The update tab is where we'll list any errors that are occurring or any updates and features that we roll out down the road. So if you're a Bowser Report subscriber, you can just check your email, right? If you're not, since this is going to be for the public, you can check right there. Okay. And then last but not least, obviously, you're probably thinking as an active investor, what about my dividends, right? I'm investing in some of these stocks that have dividends. What about them? How are they factored in here? So we've created another spreadsheet down here, okay, called dividends, where you can put in the dividends that you've received over the months, years, whatever for your holdings. So basically, you put them in month to month, and it'll total it up and add it for the year, so you can look at the most recent few years. Okay, this is pretty self-explanatory. Dividends are something that you should be checking in on once a month, right? It's not that much time that you're putting in. So this is something that Google Finance can't pull the data for you, but you have to do it manually. Okay, but we've created a little area to do that over here. And I will say briefly, the Google Finance pulling the data, this is what it's mainly pulling, the last price, right? So it can factor in how much you've made or lost if it's an unrealized gain or loss. But everything else is just formulas that we've created, right? You can see it in the top left. Okay. And most of the formulas are locked, right? So I've locked them so that you can't edit them or accidentally mess something up. But if you need to, I can unlock that for you if you need me to do that, or I'm pretty sure you can unlock it yourself after you make your copy. Okay, if you want to change up the formulas and get a little bit fancy here. All right, and then the last part of the spreadsheet is just the terrible 10. This is an experiment, excuse me, that we did in a couple of months, right? It was I think maybe 3 months ago in the monthly issue where we picked 10 stocks that had significantly underperformed during the coronavirus crash. And we said, all right, everybody buy, a small number of shares of each of those stocks. It's an experiment that Max Bowser, may he rest in peace, who started the Bowser Report years and years ago, about 42 years ago, tried during the 2008 crash, and the portfolio doubled like this. A lot of the stocks even going up as much as 1,000%. So you can see that this is an experiment that a lot of people are doing. So we've created a spreadsheet for that to track these stocks separately so that you don't have to put in all the information yourself. Okay, so you can see the portfolio so far is up 38% in the span of a month and a half. It's been doing exceptionally. So I guess it was about 2 months ago, roughly. And you can see the unrealized P&Ls on these, et cetera, et cetera. And you can actually add your exit price in, but we're just showing this to track them, right, and their performance. So if you want to put your exit prices in, by all means, go for it. but I'm going to leave this as the default so people can start fresh with it. Okay, but the main portfolio tracker is right here. And if you guys do have any questions about it, or if you want to feature down the road for saying, Ferris, this sucks, I want to see this, this, and this, we're open-minded, right? We're happy to help. This is a free tool that we're giving you guys to help track your holdings. And sometimes brokerages don't really make that very clear. So if you do have questions, feel free to comment below. If not, and this is the best video you've ever seen, then just like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. All right, there's going to be a lot more good content coming down the road. Okay, so thanks so much, guys. Enjoy the portfolio tracker and green screens to you. All right, take care.